Welcome to Brand Lover, honest, real and lively conversations for flourishing entrepreneurs and budding business owners on a mission to cultivate a heartfelt brand that connects with their purpose-driven mission. My hope is that you walk away feeling inspired and refreshed with a weekly takeaway in your back pocket that you can apply to your life or business. Welcome to another week of Brand Lover. I am very excited to introduce you to a beautiful friend of mine called Kristy Pask. I've known Kristy for a number of years and had the pleasure of witnessing her transformation, which we will chat about further. I will sort of leave you with intrigue there. So come on down, Kristy. Hi, welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for spending this time with me. I truly appreciate it. I know that you've got a lot going on at the moment. At time of recording, there's just like half of Australia's in lockdown and yeah, so I really appreciate that.
No, happy to be here. Thank you.
So tell us about you. Tell us about Kristy, not just from a business perspective, but give us like a snapshot of your life and your business is obviously included in that. Yeah, I just would love to sort of share your beautiful self with the world.
Sure. Thank you. Gosh, where do I start? I guess without taking up the entire podcast episode speaking about my life story, I grew up in regional Victoria, and after high school I studied interior design. I then moved down to Melbourne and then relocated to Sydney with my partner. So we are currently in Sydney now. I have two gorgeous little boys. Where do I start? Okay, so I studied interior design to start with. And
I didn't know that.
Oh, there you go.
That's another little surprise.
There you go. I actually went into, so after working in that sort of field for a little while, I actually went into magazines, and that's actually where I began my marketing career. So I am a marketer now of about 15 years.
Yeah.
I have been working for myself and sort of more consulting sort of work for about 5 years now, actually almost 6. So we're located in Sydney. I have two gorgeous little boys, and we are actually in the process, and you actually don't know this yet, Rachel, of relocating back to regional Victoria.
Oh,
so
beautiful.
Yeah, we will be back there at the end of this year.
Oh, wow, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Is your family there?
They are. My family is still there, which
good.
has been a big, I guess, with everything that's been going on the last 2 years as well.
Yeah.
We live in a different state to them. And a lot of our friends that we've grown up with and some of my nearest and dearest friends are still back there.
Yeah.
So it's been really hard not to be able to, just have that freedom to get back whenever we want and see the people that we love the most. So we have made the decision to relocate, which is really big and scary, but also really exciting.
Well, you're no stranger to big and scary things, which I think we'll get into a little bit, so you'll be fine. But I think you're right, like just this whole past almost 2-year period, I guess, if it's highlighted anything, it's really highlighted what's most important to us, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's really exciting.
Yeah, my relationships and my friendships, I definitely think are the thing that I, hold the most dearly and that I value the most. It means the most to me.
Yeah.
And I think that, if I can bring those people closer to me, or I can move closer to those people, and, have my parents around and, have the boys grow up with them close by will be really lovely too. So
yeah, wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
We're just having a bit of a social chat here. So you said you've been in business for nearly 6 years.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about, so why did you start your own business in the first place? We'll get into the details in a minute, but
sure.
What was the catalyst for you?
So I had always wanted to work for myself. I am a multi-passionate creative, I guess you could say. So when I was in high school, I was working in retail, and I had this dream. I was like, I'm going to own my own store. I want to own my own retail store. It's going to be a women's fashion store. I had this dream. And then as I grew up, that's when I then went into interior design. And I really had this idea that I wanted to open my own interior design studio. But also, I guess I was carrying around a lot of, I can't do that. I'm too young. I don't have enough experience. So I just kept working.
Yeah.
And I think throughout my entire career, I had always had this, I really want to work for myself, but I always had sort of told myself that I wasn't ready. I didn't have enough experience. It wasn't the right time. I was scared that I wouldn't make any money and that I wouldn't be able to do it. All of those sorts of things. And it was actually by, I guess, I don't even know, I was not dragged along kicking and screaming or anything, but I was taken to my very first professional or personal development event, which was actually a Tony Robbins event.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, my husband was actually into it, and he's like, do you want to go? And I had no idea what I was in for.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, all right. Like, if you want to do it, then I'll do it. I'm happy to do it. I don't mind. Like, no biggie.
Yeah.
And I went along, and it was a 4-day event here in Sydney. And honestly, it was the moment. It was the thing that changed my life, I guess, the course of my life. And I guess it really highlighted for me there the type of life that I wanted to create for myself, what I wanted my life to look like. And I guess highlighted for me at that point that that wasn't what my life was looking like. I was working in a job that I did actually quite enjoy. And I think that I get quite passionate about things, and I really pour myself into it. I was the first one to arrive at the office, the last one to leave every night. I was working, really hard. But ultimately, I had always this thing where I really wanted to do my own thing. So it was in 2014, I actually decided to resign from my job, my full-time job, which I know is against what everyone tells you to do.
Yeah. So you did that before you'd started anything.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was just like, I just have to go all in. I just have to do this. I have to make it work. And I guess I was in a fortunate position where I had savings, so that I knew that, if it took me a little bit of time, then I had money to back me up. But also, I had this change of heart, I guess, where I was like, well, if it doesn't work out, I'll just get a job again.
Yeah.
That's fine. But I just have to give it a go, because I guess the way I was working as well, I felt like I was sort of trying to start something on the side, but I was working so late, and living in Sydney, I'm up in the Northern Beaches area. I was working down near the airport. So it was taking me over an hour to get to work, and then an hour to get back home from work. So I just kind of felt like I didn't really have the time to do it. And I guess I just, so I just decided to go all in, just quit on the spot. And I finished my full-time job at the end of the year, Christmas. So we closed down for Christmas, and then, that was it.
Okay, then what?
And then what? So I was really fortunate, actually. So at the time previously from my magazine career, I had a lot of connections back there.
Yeah.
And I had been speaking with it was actually the editor of Bride to Be magazine, who I used to work for. And then she knew someone else who had a business that was looking for a marketing consultant type event manager sort of thing. So I actually started the year with consulting work straight away, consulting contracting work. And I was doing that just a couple of days a week. And I actually decided to open up my own online kids clothing store.
Didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So I went into the new year with, and I hadn't opened the store yet. I was going through that process of, working out what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And then freelancing and consulting basically on the marketing front as well. So.
Wow. You're not lying when you say multi-passionate.
Which has been, I think sometimes it works for me, and sometimes it definitely feels like it works against me. But
because when I sort of met you, and we've never actually met in real life, but hopefully that changes at some point. But definitely. When I met you, you were a branding photographer. So when did that, how did, just this, I'm just so fascinated by this whole evolution, because it's in stark contrast to myself. I just, for example, I I discovered what a graphic designer was when I was 12, and that was it. I was sold. That's it. That's my path. Went off to uni, did that, that whole thing.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I'm creative in other ways, and I have hobbies and that, I love my fine art, and have other interests, but for work, that's been it. So this is a very fascinating conversation for me because it feels so brave, it just feels like so scary to just to try your hand at so many different things. So from children's boutique and marketing consultant to branding photographer, how did that sort of happen? Because I know that you've even evolved from there, but at the time, I think you were still doing marketing.
That's right. Yes. And I have marketing consultant, that side of thing has been the one thing that has been with me since the day I left my full-time job.
Yeah.
So I had the store for about three or 4 years, and it had sort of gone in a direction where I just wasn't really feeling very passionate about it. It had moved in a direction that I didn't really want it to go.
Yeah.
And, things just changed. So I decided just to close the doors on that and just to decide where I wanted to go. I kept the marketing consultancy sort of side of things. And then I was thinking, how can what can I do that can complement this, that I'm, is something else that I can bring into the mix? And that's where branding photography
makes sense.
Yeah. So I did a photography course. I bought myself a camera and I started putting myself out there as a branding photographer. I started doing some product shoots and a little bit of personal branding type stuff as well on the side as well. So that's basically where that came in. And it was kind of always, I have to admit, it was something that I sort of had dabbled in, but it was never my full-time thing. It was just something that I did. It was another little creative outlet, all while at the same time, I was still technically, I guess, I had my youngest, Flynn, he was only, I think I was still technically on maternity leave with him when I started.
Yeah, okay.
So that's where that came in. I feel like the more I'm talking about it, I'm sounding a bit indecisive because then I obviously decided that wasn't the direction that I wanted to go.
No, that's okay. It's also fascinating from a branding point of view because, we work so hard to get clear messaging and be known for our one thing, I guess. And so I'm just interested into, how that worked for you and how you've consciously taken the steps towards, because now you've let go of that, the branding photography, and you really have niched, you've sort of found your niche, haven't you? You've sort of found your groove in, in who you're serving, I guess, for one thing, and how you're doing it, because you've now focused, and I've sort of seen you in the last couple of years sort of, I guess, up level yourself even in your knowledge so that you can pass that on to your clients. So tell me a little bit about that and, the evolution of that, how you consciously took those steps, if it's something that, you were intent on working towards. This is a really long question.
No, that's good.
So let's start there, because I'd really like to discuss the mindset challenges that come along with up leveling as well, So let's just start with how you've sort of progressed from this multi-passionate to really being focused on what you're doing.
Sure. So I guess it started with the marketing consultancy sort of work that I was still doing. So I was doing a lot of freelancing and consulting back to businesses. I was doing a lot of the marketing work for them. And I started to get a lot of questions from people who wanted basically help to do their marketing, help with their marketing, but they didn't necessarily want to pay someone to do the marketing work for them. And I loved helping these people. This sort of, I guess, where this passion sort of really started to ignite in me. I had always known that I loved to help people and that I wanted to help people do something, but I kind of never really felt like I was I'm going to say qualified, and I don't necessarily mean like professionally certified or qualified, but more just like, who am I to be giving this information to anyone? Why would anyone want to know from me? I'm no expert. You know, I just never really, that was, I guess, a bit of a mindset issue for me as well. Like, I'm not an expert. You know, I would see all these people who had multiple six-figure careers, who were, you know, heads of global marketing for certain things. To me, I was like, no, like, they're the expert. That's not me. I'm not the expert. But I guess in terms of marketing creative small businesses, I had become a bit of, I guess, an expert in my own right there.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's where I then sort of started to niche down a little bit further there into actually helping creative small businesses market their own businesses and helping them use social media and, you know, email marketing and all of the different, you know, marketing touch points that we have, from digital to basically in person. You know, those traditional marketing tactics as well, because that's where I started. You know, I started in print. Before, I remember, you know, when we were building, I was working in magazines, and we were building up our Facebook page, and we were like, oh, this is ridiculous. We were posting 3-4 times a day. We were posting cat photos, dog photos. You know, it was really like, because it was that chronological feed. You know, and now actually the brand that I'm referring to, they have multiple millions of followers. But at the time when I started with them, we had 5,000. So this is going back a long time. Amazing. And we were thinking, oh, how's this going to work? You know,
yes, I remember that same transition. It's changed. Because I come from that whole traditional space as well.
Like we would, you know, I remember when I first started, you know, in marketing, you know, we would print brochures and flyers and we would do letterbox drops.
That's
and
it.
all of that
You'd be doing your mailing, you know, like the distributing like direct mail to people.
That's right. Yes.
I remember, I'm just taking over here, but because I started my first business, I was 23. I can't even remember what year that was. But the first thing I did, like, I didn't even have a website. I rang up the Yellow Pages and got my free listing in the Yellow Pages. Like, that was what you did.
That's what you did.
And I actually got business from that. Like, people would call and inquire. Like, and today, in this day and age, that just seems so foreign, you know. Like,
could you imagine putting your phone number down anywhere now?
Website anymore. Like, it's insane the amount of change that we've seen. I feel like an old lady now, but
I know. Sorry about that.
That's okay. No, I would prefer to be here than having to be back there and have to learn everything again. It's all
absolutely
good. Your grey hairs and wrinkles is fine. I'll take that.
Absolutely. So that's really where this next step for me came from. Was that really sort of loving that, diving into other people's businesses. And it was more then that I was like, I don't know if I want my own business in the sense of this children's wear store anymore. I think I want to do something where I can help other people with their businesses. It sort of seemed to be a bit of a zone of genius for me.
That makes sense. Okay, so all right, so let's talk about the specifics of how you, because you read your bio and you're an like an NLP, is it practitioner? Is that what
that's
they say?
Right. Yes.
And you know, like, I'm reading on your website, like hypnosis and time therapy and all these things that, like, to me, that I don't actually really understand or know what they are. So I think it would be great, you know, to talk about why you decided to go down that path initially. You know, like how that's helpful in your work and how that's, you know, assists your clients and how you work together from a marketing point of view, and what they are, I guess, more specifically, just to help listeners understand them at a deeper level, I guess.
Sure. So this sort of all came from, I guess, that wanting to help other businesses, but then wanting to be able to do it in a way that wasn't just about strategy, because what I could see is that, you know, the best strategy in the world will never work if you don't have the right mindset. And so many people were really struggling with being able to do the things that they had set out in their marketing plans because they just didn't feel confident. They didn't want to be visible. They were, you know, procrastinating, and they were sitting on tasks that should be getting out the door really quickly. But, you know, it was just that perfectionist in them, I guess, that really stopped them from doing the things that they wanted to do.
Yes.
So this is why I then decided to jump into a coaching certification. And with my coaching certification, that's also where I studied NLP, hypnosis, time therapy, and tapping as well, and EFT tapping. So basically what all of those help us do is communicate directly with the subconscious mind. So your conscious mind is, that critical thinker. It's what stops you from doing, the things that you kind of want to do. It's the thing that makes you stop and go, oh, is this something that I should do? That's sort of in control of that. Whereas your subconscious mind is where all your beliefs and your values and all of those things that you've stored from your life, those automatic habits, they're in the subconscious mind. So you might think that you want to do something. You think, I'm going to do that. You consciously make the decision that you're going to do something. But then there's your subconscious mind, which then goes, no, we're not. And it sort of just holds, it doesn't necessarily say hold you not, but it's like, no, because if you do that, then this is going to happen. We don't do that. That's not something that we do. We're going to be uncomfortable. We're going to be seen. Someone's going to judge us. So that's why I really wanted to be able to do that and to dive in deeper. So I use hypnosis has been one of my most favorite, I don't know if that makes sense, I guess, modalities and the tools that's really helped me to overcome a lot of the things that I struggled with. So I really struggled with, in the beginning, being visible was a really hard one for me. I was really anxious about that, putting my face to my brand and talking on stories and, actually being the face of my brand and building that. And it was this whole, every time I'd film a video, I would feel sick for hours after it had gone out. I was waiting for someone to say something negative to me. I was thinking, what are people thinking? What if my mum and dad see this, or, friends and things like that.
I think that's very relatable.
Yeah, I think a lot of people struggle with that one. So, hypnosis was one of the things that really helped me, and NLP that really helped me sort of push past that. And I guess change those beliefs and change those, the thoughts that were sort of making me, the thoughts that I was having around that, so that now I generally, to be completely honest, like, I'm sure that there are people judging me, like, no doubt there's always someone judging
absolutely
me.
Of course. It's a natural human thing, I think.
Absolutely.
Like, it's very difficult to not judge people, especially based on your own opinions or expectations even.
Yes, absolutely. But I think even though a part of me goes, well, I know that people are judging me, of course they are, like, there's always someone out there judging, but there's actually another part of me now that goes, well, I kind of think, like, I know that it's in my head, like, well, no one's judging me. My mum and dad have both seen my work and they're so supportive. A lot of my friends and family have seen what I'm doing, and no one said anything negative. It was all just me in my own head, going, everyone's going to judge me. I can't do this. I can't do that. So it really helped me to get over those things and move through them, and then actually take the action that I really wanted to take, but I just couldn't seem to get there. Previously.
Amazing. And I sort of, like, when I said that, of course, people were judging you, I didn't mean it in like your parents or, no. Or that people, and, like, I think that we just subconsciously judge anyway, but we, like, it's only, I don't know, no one's going to, like, go and actually type something really mean or anything, like, I don't, from that perspective, do you know what I mean?
That's right. And the thoughts that we're having about ourselves, that's, people are going to think that I look like an idiot, or that I sound like I don't know what I'm doing. These are the things that we're probably more projecting than anyone else is having. So I think that's a really good point. And then it's the same thing, if someone's watching you and they go, they're passing judgment of some sort, that's a reflection of them, and it's actually got nothing to do with you. And I think it's about learning that, which is really what hypnosis and NLP has really taught me. So hypnosis, I know a lot of people think, is quite scary. They think that it's mind control, that it means, you're going to be clucking like a chicken, you're going to fall asleep, and you're not going to have any control over yourself. Whereas, stage hypnosis, to be honest, I don't know how much of that. I think some of it is, obviously works and is true. And there are incredible people out there that can do these weird things. However, I haven't met anyone that can do that. The person that taught me hypnosis certainly can't do that. Hypnosis is really just, it feels exactly like meditation.
Okay. Yeah,
That's what it feels
I
like.
was
Yeah.
going to
So
ask you.
yeah, so all we are doing, so we just want to get into a nice, deep, relaxed state. So, when we're up and about, our brainwave is on the beta or beta, however you want to say it, that brainwave. Whereas when we go into hypnosis, we take it down to the theta, which is just a much slower brainwave, which is just that relaxed feeling. So the difference then with meditation and hypnosis is hypnosis really we go into it with an outcome. So we go into that relaxed state, and then we actually build into, then once you're that relaxed, that's when we can start communicating with the subconscious mind. So this is then when we start to, we insert like a therapy, it's like a therapy section is what it's called.
Yeah.
Where, I will have interviewed you and you will have told me all about, so let's say we're working on confidence, and you'll say, when I feel confident, this is what I'll do. This is what I'll be doing. This is who I'll be with. This is what I'll see. This is what I'll feel. And we'll go through all of those things. And then I'll write a short therapy session there that will then, I'll deliver basically to you in your words, because I won't change your words, that then speaks to that subconscious mind basically. And then it basically just, rewires and, those neural pathways, and it just embeds into the subconscious mind that this is possible for you, this is true.
Yeah.
So that then when you're back into that alert, awake, everyday state, your thoughts and patterns and things will begin to change, because you'll remember, no, I am confident.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I am confident. I can do this. I am capable of that. And we're changing that subconscious mind, basically. Sorry, I hope that.
Yeah, no, I thought that's an incredible explanation. And I think that, that's actually sounds like a really beautiful therapeutic experience, rather than, the like society's sort of, I guess, learned associations or whatever with hypnosis. Like we were chatting before we started recording, and that was exactly my perception of hypnosis, is like literally like cartoon eyes with the swirly bits going around. Yes, and like,
you're feeling very sleepy.
That's it, the watch, and like segments on Hey It's Saturday with the watch, and like people just like getting up and doing things, and like doing silly things, and then not even remembering what they'd done. So that what you're explaining is incredible, like it's like totally different to that. And the fact that you're awake and alert, and you still you're still aware of what's going on.
Absolutely. At any point in time, you can open your eyes, sit up, move any of your limbs, but honestly, when you are doing it, it's like meditating. When you go into that really relaxed state, and almost it's almost like your body feels too heavy, like you don't want to move it anyway, because you're just so relaxed. So that's what that is. So it's a lot of fun. And honestly, every time I've come out of a hypnotherapy session like that, I just come out and I feel good. I feel light. I feel happy. I just feel good.
Like rested and relaxed, like I imagine.
Right.
I'm sort of thinking, like I'm sort of in my mind, like comparing it to like the end of a yoga session, when you do, when you do that deep relaxation where you just, and then the yoga instructor says, start wriggling your fingers and your toes, and you're like, no,
I know.
No, I can't do that. I don't want
are they
to.
moving?
Yeah, exactly. I don't remember how to do that. I feel so heavy. Like you feel like you're actually melted onto the mat. That's sort of, so if it's anything like that, sounds incredible. Just the way that you're like the way that you're speaking about these things and what you're doing now, like your whole, like like your face is just lit up, and it just oozes happiness from you. So I'm really excited for you. And even just to see how your journey and to this point and what's going to come next is, I don't know, it's been a pleasure to sort of, I guess, walk alongside your path, with my own business path. But would you say now that you sort of feel like you're following your true purpose after sort of trying a few different things, and then finally going, this is what I'm meant to do?
Yes, I definitely think so. It feels really good for me. I'm excited,
Yes.
whereas previously I kind of felt a bit like, oh, what am I going to do? I've got to organize something, I need to make money and,
Yeah.
all of and it was that real sort of push and force. What can I do? Sitting and thinking about things. Whereas now it's more, I'm really excited.
Yes.
And I love the people that come to me that want to work with me. And I feel, even though, like, as I was saying, like the multi-passionate thing, sometimes I feel like it works for me. And then sometimes in my earlier career,
Yeah.
I was like, why can't I stick with anything?
Yeah.
I just need to pick something like everyone does and then, move up the ladder. That's the way it's supposed to
Mhm.
work. But I keep swapping and changing. Um, so in where I say it works for me now, I've tried so much and I've done so many different things that when these creative people come to me, these creative business owners, I'm like, oh yeah, like I know that industry, or I've done this, like
Yeah.
I have, I've obviously, I've just sort of touched in a lot of different little areas that I can go, oh yeah, like I get what you're doing. I know where you want to be. I understand your ideal client, or I understand
Yeah.
the industry to some degree. So
Yeah.
in that regard, I do go, it's actually kind of good that I tried a few different things.
Absolutely. And I think
Yeah.
everybody's journey leads them to, to where they're going next. And, sometimes there's a reason for things, and obviously that's yours. But
Yeah.
I guess it would also be incredibly rewarding, from your point of view, like having that creative mind where you're wanting to do lots of different things, to actually experience that through your clients.
Yes,
Like, it's not
absolutely.
actually you having to go and try making all these different businesses, but you can be part of
Yeah,
what they're achieving and still get that, like that reward, I guess.
absolutely. And I feel like I guess like the thing that I really love as well, that I had sort of discovered through a little bit of study,
Mhm.
and things that I had done, is that I love that creative industry, but I do really love to, I guess, be a bit more strategic and come up with ideas and look at how we can make it grow and what we can do, and like looking for the opportunity as opposed to being the creative.
Yes.
So I feel like that really works well. Like I do love it, and I get it, and I love what they're like. I can see what my clients want to create and where they want to go. But I
Yeah.
can get really excited about, like, oh my gosh, think about all the things that we can do. We can do A, B, C, D, where do you want to go? Maybe you should do,
I'm exactly the same
Yeah.
with my clients. I'm just like, oh, you could do
Yeah.
this, you could do this, you could do this. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so exciting. Oh,
Exactly.
it's
Yes. I love being part of the journey with
yeah,
them in that regard. And it's so often,
yeah.
they come to me because they're not necessarily marketing minded. They know that they want to grow their business, that they're
Mm,
amazing creatives,
mm,
but they just need that help,
yeah,
in actually doing that strategy stuff and all of
yeah.
those other things. And then, developing the mindset as well, that's going to actually help them succeed in that area, breaking
Yeah,
through that fear of visibility and that being
that's
confident. And yeah.
exactly. And that's the thing about starting a business or being a business owner, is that, like, you start a business based on something that you're passionate about and you believe to be your purpose for whatever reason. And, like, especially, like, just say, for example, it is a creative business. It's like, you
Mhm.
don't automatically know how to market a business or set up a
No.
business or do the accounting, or there's so many things that go alongside the actual core offering or
Mhm.
product, that it's just so important to get help in those areas. And it's something that, like, I don't think until you start living through it. So that was a really
Absolutely.
good
Yeah,
point,
absolutely.
that you
Yeah.
mentioned there. So just to wrap up,
Mhm.
what would you say to someone, like a maybe someone who has been in business a short time and is finding it difficult, or she's getting, she's held back by her thoughts, like these imposter syndrome or in comparison? What would you say to someone like that who was experiencing those sorts of self-doubts?
I think, it would depend, I guess, exactly what was sort of where they felt that they were being held back.
Mm,
I guess, like, well, without going into asking them specific questions, but I think the number one thing is you have to believe that it's possible before it becomes possible, if that makes
mm,
sense. So,
yeah,
you have to believe that you can do it. You have to believe in your success for it to be able to take those steps forward.
Yeah.
I think it's, we're our own worst critics at times. And it's really about taking a step back and actually asking yourself, is this true? Is this true, or is this just a thought that I'm having? And I think that, when we're really deep in that, we do believe that it's true. We believe that those thoughts that we're having, I like the one I hear all the time is, I suck at marketing. And I'm like, you don't suck at marketing.
Yeah.
You actually don't suck at marketing. It's just that, it's when we're going into business and we are new, we are, like you said, we're wearing all these different hats that we've never even tried on before. And I think one of the things that's very true about business is, and look, everything in life really is, we don't know what we don't know. And then the more we learn, the more we realize that we don't know. And then that can make us begin to feel, so when we start a business, we feel really excited, this is, imagine what I can create, this is going to be great. I'm going to start a business. And then you get in, and then all of a sudden you realize all of the things that you don't know that you probably need to start getting across. And then that's where the self-doubt sort of really starts to dive in as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so true. And it's like, the other thing is, I guess, like when, like, no one's going to be good at anything the first time they do it.
No.
Ever at anything. Like, even if you end up being an incredible something or other, like the first time you do it, it's going to be rubbish. So
it probably will be. It probably will be. But one thing I find to be true as well, it's funny. I actually have looked at some old content that I created, video content. And I remember this is the stuff that like I put out, and I was like, to me, I was like, I look like it's forced. It looks awkward. I don't speak well. And, I would put it out into the public and think, oh my God, I just feel sick about this. Who's going to say something negative? What's going to happen? And then I look at it, I'm like, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't. But I've never had those thoughts about anything you've done. Like, I always think.
It is very easy in that moment to go, I suck at this.
Yeah.
I'm no good, but you do need to make peace with the fact that, it's not necessarily going to be your best work. But then coming back and having a look now, sometimes I'm like, that actually really wasn't that bad. I don't really know why I was so worried.
Yeah.
And getting comfortable with, just diving in and just giving it a shot.
That's it. That's exactly right. I just think that's so important. And I'm so grateful for all of your wisdom that you've shared today. I just think, I think that we'll, like if anyone's listening and you're having those feelings of self-doubt, or, things are overwhelming, just to come back to that, as Kristy said, stepping back from yourself and sort of analyzing your own self and your own thoughts and thinking, is this actually true? Like, I just think that's so profound and just such a simple, helpful tip. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Where can we find you?
So usually I hang out on Instagram. Yeah. So if anyone wants to come say hello, it's just Kristy Pask. It's KristyPask. And then my website is also KristyPask.com. It's currently in the process of going through just a little bit of a revamp. So nothing too exciting, but just updating, with where I'm at now and, the services that I offer and just things like that. So
super important. Yeah.
Yes.
And you have your own podcast.
Oh, I do. I do indeed. How funny. The Business of Perfectionism is my podcast. So I was very lucky to have you as a guest recently. Thank you.
It was so fun.
But if anyone wants to come over and have a listen, I would love that. I do speak a lot on there. I guess there's a bit of marketing stuff on there, but what I find people really love is the mindset stuff as well. So
absolutely. It's so important. It really does feed into everything. And I don't know, I think I said to someone recently on the podcast, is that being in business is just like, you're just thrown on this personal development journey that you didn't even know that you were in for. Like, it's just like, you just got no choice. You either strap in and get ready for the crazy ride and just go with it, or you just get off. Like, it's just, there's no happy medium. It's all in or all out, isn't it? Oh dear. All right, lovely. Well, thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
If you loved listening to this week's episode, pretty please click subscribe so that you don't miss any future podcasts. Also, if you have just a minute, please feel free to leave a 5-star review wherever you're listening. I'd so appreciate it, and it will help spread this message further. Thanks for being here. I'll catch you next week.